Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we're going to be breaking down the latest news as Carson Wentz was officially named the Week 8 starter for the Thursday Night Football matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. We'll also talk about some trade rumors coming in from Ian Rappaport and Diana Rossini. But speaking about that Week 8 game, if you guys want the Vikes to beat the Chargers, move to 4-3 on the season, make sure you give me those skulls down below. We already got 154 people in the building, so we appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. What's up, Reed Southern? Noah Carl in the building saying what's up. Connor's in the house. Bobby Blogs in the building saying D-Block. D-Block saying, boy, ain't got a chance this week. We'll see. We'll see how it all goes out. But Justin in the house. Lynette, Astro, Summer Collier, what's going on? Vikings Fowler, Evan in the building. And I say we just ask you guys this off the rip after we get to Vaporous Plenty saying, do you think JJ is there you go. Vapors, we'll get back to you. Do you think JJ going to make us go to the playoffs? I mean, we'll see. I mean, JJ McCarthy's got to get out there first. Now, I have a lot of thoughts on the Carson Wentz starting situation because clearly JJ McCarthy, whether he's not fully healthy or whether KOC doesn't trust his mechanics, his footwork right now, no matter the JJ McCarthy situation, I'm just a little disappointed they didn't go to Carson Wentz or to Max Brosmer because, listen, I understand Carson Wentz is a veteran. He may give you a slightly better chance than Max Brosmer this week. But I would rather go to the unknown of Max Brosmer instead of just riding out with Carson Wentz. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. But Still dealing with that lost voice I had, so you guys may have to bear with me throughout this entire live show. Lego fellow in the building, what's going on? Saying at least give Brosmer a shot. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know what, Dylan? You actually want to pop up real quick. Answer your guys' thoughts here in a second. I just need to go clear my voice here real quick. Then we'll give you guys the full lowdown. But Dylan's going to hold it down here for a second.
So we got another super chat coming in from Vaporless Plenty saying, what are your thoughts on them benching Ivan? I think it could be definitely a move that the Vikings could go in. I know Ivan hasn't had the strongest season for the start. And look, there's been other players that have been outperforming him, like an Eric Wilson, who they signed in free agency. So Ivan Pace might be on the way out in Minnesota soon.
Yeah, Pace actually got benched this past week. He played 0 defensive snaps for the first time in his NFL career. They went back to Eric Wilson there, which was definitely a shocker. I did not think they were going to do that, but yeah, that was definitely interesting. But Brosmer on live action, let's give it a try. I would at least went to Brosmer. Like, I understand Wentz. Like, was he really that bad against the Eagles? I think he was. Some people are still defending him, saying like, oh, maybe the play calling wasn't as good. Like, listen, KOC schemed up 4 or 5 wide open touchdowns for Carson Wentz, and he just couldn't hit them. And it all gets back to this point. They should have valued the backup quarterback position more during the offseason. Like, you had a chance to go get a Joe Flacco. You had a chance to go get a Jacoby Brissett. And they just decided to play the comp pick game. And it's like, who the hell cares about a 5th-round comp pick? Like, now you have Carson Wentz starting again, and he's been the biggest reason why the Vikings are 2-2 with him starting. Like, the team has actually played good enough to go 4-0. Like, I thought, even though the defense gave it that one play to DK Metcalf, they still did enough to go get you a win in that Ireland game. This past week, the Vikings were the better football team than the Eagles. But it turns out in the red zone, when you have a terrible quarterback, you just can't put the ball in that end zone. So I just don't understand it. Did Andrew Van Ginkel practice today? We have not gotten an update on that, but once we do, we'll get you guys that info there. But Brozama saying KOC low-key scared Max. Low-key scared Maxwell Ball, Wentz, and JJ. I mean, I don't think he would be scared of that, but, I mean, like, why would KOC not want Max Brosmer the ball out? Like, then you have a UDFA, young quarterback that you could potentially develop. Like, you know what? I would love to have a conversation, Brozama. What if Max Brosmer went out there this weekend and this Thursday and completely balled out? and he had 250, 3 touchdowns, he looked like a legit guy, then how much fun would that conversation be next week where it's like, well, what do we do? Do we go with the JJ? Do we go with the Brosmer? Like, listen, you guys know I'm a JJ guy. He went to my same high school. But also at the end of the day, it's just about finding that franchise quarterback. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. You know Wentz is not the franchise quarterback. You're never going to win games with Carson Wentz, big-time games. And this is a big-time moment, prime-time stage, going against Justin Herbert. Like, I promise you, if Justin Herbert brings his A game this weekend, the Vikings are losing. There is no doubt. Because if he brings his A game, quarterback, the most important position in all of sports, he just can't go toe-for-toe with Herbert. Now, am I saying Max Brosmer could? Probably not. Could JJ? Could? Probably not. But I'll at least try to find out the answer to the question of, do we have a franchise quarterback? Because still, let's just say JJ goes out to the rest of the year, doesn't really look too good. Then we're talking about quarterbacks this next offseason. Then we're talking about drafting one. We're talking again, trading up for a quarterback in the draft. And this draft class is not that good at the quarterback position. The free agency cycle isn't that good. I just don't understand the decision to go back to Wentz. Like, he was that bad against the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'll ask you guys, how do you feel about Wentz starting again? Let me know your thoughts down below. Let's develop 2 QBs. It'll be worth it. I mean, KOC's been hyping up Brosmer the entire offseason. He looked pretty damn good during the preseason. I understand it's preseason football compared to regular season football. It is night and day, but why? Like, why? I just, it also just kills juice in this game. Because, like, I would be so excited for this Thursday night game if Brosmer was starting. And I know that shouldn't really matter when you're making your decision, but, man, we would have all been thrilled if Brosmer got the start. And, I mean, even just looking at the live poll, who should start? I'd even include JJ. 214 votes, 78% for Max Brosmer. I just disagree with the move, and I'll give you guys my full in-depth thoughts here in a little bit because I do have a lot to say on it. I kind of want to save my thoughts for that. So we'll talk about that first on today's show. Carson Wentz starting again. I disagree with the move, so we'll dive into that. We'll also talk about the latest Vikings trade rumors. Diana Rossini wrote up an interesting article, same with Ian Rappaport, so we'll dive into that as well. And then also a mailbag on today's live show. So if you guys want to get those questions in there, hashtag Vikings or Super Chat. And if you guys are ready to rock and roll, hit that thumbs up icon. We got 40 likes right now. If we could just get 10 more likes, that would be awesome. Then we can start today's show. Michael saying, do you think KOC seemed a little nervous in his presser? He must have just watched a film from Carson's circus show on Sunday. I don't know about nervous, but KOC looked like he kind of seemed like the stress was getting to him. Like, he did not seem, comfortable talking. I'm sure KOC knew. He was like, I'm going to announce Carson Wentz the starter. I'm going to get killed for it. Like, I almost felt like KOC knew what was coming, but we'll see. Big OB saying, nice voice, Pat. We're getting there. The only problem is now it's a lot more scratchy. At least I have the voice. I can talk to this entire live show, but we'll see. Billy Covington saying, your head coach had 6 shots to score touchdowns, and only 1 was successful, and that's not the quarterback, it's your head coach. Well, he missed 2 wide-open touchdowns in the red zone. Like, wide-open touchdowns. It was a C.J. Ham play, where also Carson Wentz, probably the most boneheaded play of the weekend out of any quarterback. C.J. Ham, wide open the flat. He had a lead blocker in front. Wentz pisses down his leg. Hey, he had no pressure when he should have released the ball at the first time. Then he finally has pressure and just throws it in the dirt. And then you're backed up, 3rd and 18, loss of downs, plus the yardage. He was just bad. And Tyson, 40-0 Flacco looks better. Like, why didn't you trade for Flacco? I think it was idiotic that the Browns traded him, but he was on the block. Like, why didn't you make the call? I'm sure the Browns would have much rather traded him to the NFC North rather than the AFC North. So I just don't get it. Roger saying that Ham play was so bad. It was terrible. I mean, the Jordan Addison play was terrible. Even the one, guys, if you went back and looked at the all-22 version of when on the Jordan Addison deep shot in the first drive of the game, I mean, it is a walk-in touchdown. Jordan Addison is expecting the ball in stride. He has to completely turn his head, makes a diving catch. I don't know. He was just bad. And listen, I'm not saying the play calling was perfect, but if you watch that game and you go look back at it and you say, oh, Kevin O'Connell was the reason the Vikings went 1-6 in the red zone, you're out of your mind. I still think that the Vikings, and they're not, if they would for any reason fire Kevin O'Connell, there would be 25 teams in the NFL that would fire their head coach in a second. He has still done amazing. Has Max done something wrong? No, I just think KOC, I don't know. Like, why would you be scared to throw out Brosmer, but then you're throwing out Carson Wentz after Carson Wentz? I mean, He hasn't played a good game yet this season. He hasn't looked good one time. So I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Yeah, run the ball. We'll talk about that here because the Chargers are actually getting gashed against some running backs this season. So 27 should have a big game. At least, I don't know, if KOC can stay committed to the run. Scott saying not his day. Yeah, it was definitely not his day on Sunday. Josh Mendez, the refs got a bad call about the TJ Hawkinson touchdown. It was 100% the wrong call, but it also did not end up mattering because the Eagles still the next possession, they still were able to ice the game. The Vikings didn't even get the football back. So they didn't really end up making too much impact. No, I did. I mean, TJ Hawkinson was pissed about it for right reason. It was a hell of an effort by him. It was a hell of a catch. It was just a little unfortunate. But it also did not end up mattering. It's also the thing is with KOC, the one thing I will say about his red zone play calling, it even goes back to week 18 against the Lions last year, where I think the Vikings, it was like 4 straight possessions in the red zone. I think they came away with like 3 points. And again, Sam Darnold, he missed a lot of open guys in that game. So I don't know. I'm not going to blame KOC when he's got Carson Wentz starting at quarterback. Like Carson Wentz is terrible, everybody. He's probably the worst starting quarterback in the league right now. He is that bad. Maybe Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor might be worse, but we'll see. It's a battle between Wentz and Tyrod, who's the worst starter in the NFL. KOC might be good when it's game time, but bad at building in the offseason, not good. Well, that's on the GM. I mean, Kwesi's been bad as well. When is Jones back? Aaron Jones actually has a chance to play on Thursday, so hopefully he'll end up being out there. Frank saying, can we revoke the coach of the year? No, KOC was awesome last year. KOC is still a great coach. Listen, is he a perfect coach? No, there's not a perfect coach out there. He is still a very, very good head coach. Reed Southern saying, SKOL. Roger Bong, what's going on, Brody? Jared Avery saying, y'all, we're going to be a happy-ass team at the end of the season. I hope so, Jared. I hope so. Connor saying, I hope the Vikings win. Me too. JJ, waste of money. Talking about McCarthy. I mean, he's on a rookie deal. He's making $15 million for the next 3 seasons. Do you regret not keeping Sam or Daniel Jones? 100%. Sam Darnold was fucking awesome last night. Yet again. Like, Darnold also looks better than he did in Minnesota and Seattle, which could be an indictment on Kevin O'Connell, but I just disagree with the move. Like, there's no benefit to starting him. Like, does he even give you the best chance to win this game? Maybe. Maybe not. I just don't know why you don't just throw Brosmer out there. But we'll talk about it. I'll give you guys my full thoughts here. If you guys are ready to go, 220 people in the building, just hit me with the SKOL down below in the comment section, and let's do it. We got some breaking news for you Vikings fans as Carson Wentz was officially named the starter for the Thursday matchup against the Los Angeles Chargers. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. Just going to get this off my chest here first. I completely disagree with this move. I think they should have went to Max Brosmer. Obviously, since J.J. McCarthy clearly isn't 100% healthy just yet. So I completely disagree with it. But I'll give you guys my thoughts here in a second. But it was Tom Pelissero. He tweeted this out saying, Vikings coach Kevin O'Connell says the team put J.J. McCarthy, dealing with an ankle injury, through an on-field workout this morning. And while the team is encouraged, quote was, he's just not there on a short week. Carson Wentz starts again. Max Brosmer backs him up, and McCarthy will be the emergency third quarterback. But he also tweeted this out, which I thought was interesting. Kevin O'Connell says, if there was a game this Sunday, J.J. McCarthy might have a chance to go. That would seem to put him on track to be available to start Week 9 against the Lions. Which, if J.J. McCarthy, if for whatever reason, this guy is not starting Week 9 against the Lions, I'm going to blow a casket. I'm going to be absolutely furious just because, one, the Vikings have been just kind of lying about this J.J. McCarthy injury. Either it's way too serious or way more serious than we thought, or J.J. is just clearly not there as a starting quarterback. Like, clearly they have no faith in him executing any sort of a game plan. But back to this Carson Wentz decision. I completely disagree with this. Just going to get this out there. Wentz was so bad against the Philadelphia Eagles. You go back and watch the All-22 version from the quarterback's angle, he was just missing wide open touchdowns, like the C.J. Ham throw. He's got C.J. Ham wide open in the flat with a lead blocker. Wentz pisses down his leg, throws the ball into the dirt, intentional grounding. You're backed up 3rd and 18. You're not starting. The Jordan Addison throw when he caught it on the right sideline, first drive of the game. That was a walk-in blown coverage touchdown for Jordan Addison. He throws it about 7 yards behind him. Addison's looking for the ball here, has to turn around, make a diving catch, and those were like the viral plays we saw, but it was even just not even giving Justin Jefferson a chance whatsoever in the fourth quarter. He was targeting him, but he was throwing the ball 3 yards away from him. Like, I remember when, with Kirk Cousins, with Sam Darnold, even when Justin Jefferson is covered, he's still open. Get him more chances. He was just absolutely horrible against Philly. And I'll get to this. Why not start Max Brosmer? Like, I understand he is a UDFA. He has never played a snap of regular season football. But what upside does Carson Wentz bring? Like, first off, I don't even know if Carson Wentz gives you a better chance to win this week compared to Max Brosmer. Like, let's just say Wentz goes out there, he is 250-2, and maybe he looks good because Carson Wentz, he is a very, polarizing player who'll have some, great plays here and there, but majority of the time, if he's throwing the ball 42 times a game like he did last week, he'll have about 9 to 10 plays where you're just sitting there saying, how the hell is this man a starting quarterback? But let's just say Max Brosmer went out there against the Los Angeles Chargers and he threw for 250-2. I would much rather have the conversation heading in the next week against the Lions, who should start, Brosmer or JJ? Because those are both young quarterbacks, guys that can develop into a franchise guy. We know what Carson Wentz is. He doesn't bring any upside. So I just completely disagree with this move. And also, he will never win you a big game. This is a big game on Thursday. You are 3-3. You're going against a Chargers team led by Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh. You are not going to be able to walk into that building with poor quarterback play. Now, maybe KOC, if he's staying committed to the run, Jordan Mason is getting it going. Like, the run game and the defense can go win you that game. But if this game script and this game flow requires you to have your quarterback make big-time throw after big-time throw after big-time throw, Carson Wentz is not going to do it. But back to JJ. If JJ doesn't start week 9, we officially have major issues. Like, officially. Because then I'm thinking in my head, like, man, does KOC really just not trust this guy? Like, does he not even want to develop him? Or is this, injury clearly way more serious than it was? It was initially reported from the jump. This was a 2 to 4 week injury. Okay? So then he wasn't out there after the fourth week. JJ gets a second opinion. They're saying it's a 6-week injury. So week 9, that would be 7 to 8 weeks removed from week 2 against the Atlanta Falcons. If JJ is not starting week 9, we officially have problems. And then everything KOC's been saying in his press conferences over the last couple of months, like, he's been just lying. Like, just flat out lying to the media and to the fans. So if JJ doesn't start week 9, we officially got issues. But let me get you guys' thoughts on this. Maybe you guys disagree with me. Maybe you think Wentz, should be the starter for whatever reason. Drop that down below in the comment section. Give me one good reason why Carson Wentz should start against the Chargers this Thursday. Let me know your thoughts down below. Now, the only reason I can see, why Kevin O'Connell made this move is, one, the Vikings believe the season isn't lost. And I also don't believe the season is lost. Like, the people who are saying, I see it on social media, on Twitter, in the comment section all the time, where it's like, oh, the Vikings, this season's over. Might as well start developing young quarterbacks. You are a 3-3 football team. You can turn that around instantly. Now, you look at the schedule. It's a gauntlet. Like, I can hear the argument why you would think the season is lost, but as it stands right now, it is not completely lost yet. So if you don't think the season is lost and you still think Carson Wentz gives them the best chance to win, then yes, I can hear you out, but also I disagree with that last part. I don't think Carson Wentz gives you the best chance to win. He lost you that game against the Philadelphia Eagles. There was probably 45 quarterbacks on the planet right now that could have won that football game. Like the Eagles, Jalen Hurts was fantastic. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, they were cooking you guys. You just can't go back to Wentz, and that's what the Vikings decided to do. So I just disagree with this move. And honestly, if we're just looking back at this offseason, it's been horrible for the Vikings. Like Will Fries, Ryan Kelly, Javon Hargrave only played 50 snaps of, I think it was like 79 last week defensively. He was getting out-repped by Jalen Redmond. Jalen Redmond also had 20 more snaps than him. Jonathan Allen, he had a good game, but for the majority of the year, he's been pretty poor. Like, all these free agent signings you made were the reason why you brought those guys in was because you didn't pay Sam Darnold. Well, those guys you brought in haven't been living up even close to the contracts you gave them. And this is my biggest gripe about the offseason. It's not even about letting Sam Darnold walk, letting Daniel Jones walk. My biggest gripe with this Vikings offseason was, why did they not value a backup quarterback? You had J.J. McCarthy, 22 years old, coming off a torn meniscus. Why did you not bring in a backup quarterback like a Joe Flacco who's playing good football, like a Jacoby Brissett even who's playing good football over the last 2 weeks? And I can already see it. Well, Patrick, the comp pick formula. Comp pick my ass. You have a young quarterback who needs a veteran in that room, and you just decided, oh, we're going to play the comp pick game. Oh, but we'll trade for Sam Howell on draft night. And then we'll see Sam Howell in the preseason. We don't like what we see. And then we'll go trade for Carson Wentz to be the backup. Like, that process is so bad. Like, even if Wentz would have worked out and he would have been a good backup quarterback which he really hasn't, sure. Like, maybe you can make the argument that, the result was good, but still the process was poor. That you were valuing a comp pick as the reason why you didn't want to go bring in a Joe Flacco, a Jacoby Brissett, because also Flacco wasn't signed for, majority of this offseason. You could brought him in at any time. A Gardner Minshew even. But they didn't do that because they wanted to play the comp pick formula. And also these two guys, we can just call it like it is. This looks like a horrible mistake. A horrible mistake. Sam Darnold looks better than he did in Seattle than he did the previous season in Minnesota. Daniel Jones, do you guys know the Colts offense has been historically great this year? Historically great. They are averaging the most points per drive over the last 25 seasons. They're averaging more points per drive than the 2007 Patriots with Brady and Moss, than the 2018 Chiefs when they were one of the best offenses of all time, at Peyton Manning year back with the Denver Broncos when he won MVP. Like, I just don't understand this. And the one thing I don't understand is that KOC didn't want Sam Darnold back. Like, the fact that he saw Sam Darnold in his offense win you 14 games, throw for 35 touchdowns, and he didn't say to the front office, guys, do whatever you can to bring him back. Even if we have to pay a little more than we want, even if it'll limit our free agents spending on some defensive tackles and some interior offensive linemen, we can make this work. Because the one thing that's also driving me crazy, and listen, I'm not saying most Vikings fans were okay with letting Darnold walk after the last 2 weeks. But Sam Darnold, what if he had another year learning the playbook? What if he had another year building that connection with Justin Jefferson? Like, what if his late season collapse was just because that was his first time playing real big boy football in the NFL? Where it was a Week 18 game, taking on the Lions for the number 1 seed. That's a big time spot. Like, necessarily, like, it kind of felt like Darnold's, like, not like rookie year, obviously, but his first year being a legit guy. So I just can't believe KOC, and maybe it was an ego thing with them. Because I'm sure KO probably told Kwesi where it's like, hey, I can get anybody to have that. I could get Carson Wentz to have that performance. You can't. Like, the quarterback position is the most important one of all sports. And the fact that they just let Sam Darnold go for, Darnold signed a 3-year, $100 million contract with only about $37 million guaranteed. You could have made that work. You didn't need to go get Javon Hargrave for another $40 million. You didn't need to go get, Ryan Kelly for another 12. Like, it is just looking bad. Like, it is just looking bad. And listen, I'm not saying the Vikings also could have won a Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. But, man, you would have been a whole lot better. And also, let's just say you brought Darnold back for a year or two. You could just go the Green Bay Packers route, where you could just say, hey, JJ, we'll give you another year. Keep on developing. Keep on working behind the scenes. Get, fully healthy from that torn meniscus. I'm just stunned. Like, I'm stunned we are in the position we are right now. So we'll talk about more injury news here in a second. But before we do so, I want to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, that being Prize Picks. Now, if you guys download the Prize Picks app today, put in that promo code CLNS will hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. And Prize Picks has a brand new feature called Stacks, meaning you can pick up to the same player 3 times in the same lineup. So, for example, if you want to take more on Justin Jefferson's receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns, now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. They also have another brand new feature called the Feed tab. You guys can follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app, copy their lineups in one click, whether it's a friend, celebrity, or just someone whose picks you like. Hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new Feed tab on Prize Picks. So download the Prize Picks app today. Plug in promo code CLNS, get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. It's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Massive shout out to the Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, we got to get some positivity here on today's show, a lot of negativity, but some good news. The Vikings are designating running back Aaron Jones to return from injured reserve, which is obviously good to have him back. I still think no matter what, Jordan Mason will be the lead tailback, even once Aaron Jones returns, but still having him in the blitz pickup, having him in the pass catching game, just having another safety net option will be nice because honestly, the running backs outside of Jordan Mason right now haven't been good enough. Anytime the Vikings run the ball without Jordan Mason, it just hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't been positive plays. And KOC did say, like, there is a chance he plays Thursday. He was honestly giving Aaron Jones a lot of credit, saying, hey, like, he doesn't really need, obviously everybody needs practice, but he doesn't need practice because he is a veteran. He knows the playbook like the back of his hand. So if he's fully out or fully ready to go, I do expect him to be active for the Thursday game against the Los Angeles Chargers. And I'll tell you what, no more Xavier Scott touches. Xavier Scott was a cool preseason story. This guy's clearly not ready to be an NFL, like starting caliber running back in the NFL regular season. So no more Xavier Scott touches. That would be fantastic. And, in the end, like, you need to get downhill against the Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers defense for, being led by Jim Harbaugh and Jesse Minter, they haven't been the same against the run as especially close to what they were the previous year. Because they were, up with us, the Minnesota Vikings, as one of the best rushing offenses or defenses in the league. And that hasn't been the case this season. Teams are running for 5.1 yards per clip on them. That's 28th in the league. They are averaging almost 25 rushes a game. That's 11th in the league. Opponent rush yards per game, 123.6. So clearly teams are finding success running the ball against the Chargers. And also, they've been gashed by some of the top running backs in the league over the last 3 weeks. This is ridiculous. Jonathan Taylor running for 6 yards a carry. He also had 3 touchdowns on the ground last week. Devon Achane going for 16 carries, 128 yards, 8 yards a clip. And then Bill Krosky-Merritt, 14 carries, 111 yards, 7.9 yards a clip. Like, there's really no excuse to not get Jordan Mason the ball and just stay committed to getting Jordan Mason the ball. It doesn't matter who is in that quarterback, whether that's, JJ, Brosmer, Wentz, get 27 the football. You want to make that quarterback's life a whole lot easier. That starts with number 27. He's a physical, bruising back. I still think he's one of the most underrated players in the league. Kevin O'Connell, please get hit this guy the football, because if you don't, probably going to lose this game if you can't run the ball. Like, the Vikings are going to have to almost play a perfect game, like, in all other aspects besides the passing game, because I really don't have any faith in Carson Wentz at this point. Like, the film was that bad. Like, normally it's a little cliche. I think it was Bill Parcells who said it was like, when you have a really good game, the film is always not as good as you think it is. And then, like, on the opposite end of the spectrum, like, when you have a bad game, the film is always not as bad as it really is. For Carson Wentz this past Sunday, it was way worse. Like, way, way worse. Just missing wide open receivers. Missing wide open touchdowns. So if you want to help him out, that's the guy to do so, number 27. So let me ask you guys this. Over-under, 72.5 rush yards for Jordan Mason on Thursday. If the Vikings want to win this football game, this better be a for sure over. But you guys let me know. Give me an O for over. Give me U for under if you're going to take Jordan Mason's 72.5 rush yards this Thursday. Alrighty. Jay saying the Chargers have no running backs. They'll throw a lot. Yeah, I mean, that's what they've been doing over the last couple of weeks without Marion Hampton in the mix. Max Brosner is our future franchise quarterback for the Vikings. I would like to say that, but, I mean, it's also incredible how bad Wentz was, and even KOC is like, oh, we just can't go with Brosmer. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to start Wentz again. He was absolutely terrible, guys. Like, he was really, really bad. I'm going with KOC's decision over podcasters. I'm not saying I know more about football than Kevin O'Connell, but it just wasn't good enough, man. I just don't get it. Two Evil Two Hope coming in with $2 super chat. Appreciate you, man. Saying fire Quasi in the sun. Listen, this guy's on the hot seat this offseason because Dallas Turner, JJ McCarthy, like, his tenure as a Vikings GM will come down to those two guys producing, and they haven't. Like, Dallas Turner, I'm banking on this guy eventually working out, but he has looked more like a third-round pick than a first-round pick. He looks like he has a lot more to develop. I don't know why also Dallas Turner, like a guy that's such a freak athlete, I was watching him against the Eagles, and he's just trying to bull rush these big Eagles offensive tackles. like, use your speed rush to your advantage. Like, that's why we saw last year when he popped in flashes, especially that one sack against Darnell Wright, like bending the corner, his knee scraping the ground. I don't know. Fire Quasi and get who? No idea. But Also, like, he has been the worst drafting GM, and we talk about him being a great free agency GM. I also chalk up a lot of players wanting to come to the Vikings because of the coaching staff, because of KOC, because of Brian Flores. I don't know. I mean, Kwesi is, he definitely hasn't been good. Definitely hasn't been good. Can't want to just be honest and admit seeing the Vikes play a home game in Calcutta would be very appropriate. Finley Lucas saying 6-7 SKOL. Do you think KOC will run more than 20 times? Yeah, I hope so, man. I hope so this weekend he does. Connor saying SKOL, Pat, appreciate you. Ohio State will destroy the Vikings. The Vikings will beat any college team by 50 points. The Cleveland Browns would beat Ohio State by 50 points. Enough. Jets would still beat Ohio State by 50 points. Turner is not a power rusher. He needs to use his speed. What about the Jets? Listen, I know the Jets are one of the worst teams we've ever seen. They would still smoke Ohio State. I mean, Ohio State's, they wouldn't be able to move the football. Why are we acting like we have a negative win ratio? When you're coming off a 14-win season and you have pretty high expectations, I think fans have every right to be pissed off. It's not like you were, for example, I bet you if you polled New Orleans Saints fans compared to Vikings fans, how do you feel about this season? I bet you more Vikings fans would be negative compared to Saints fans because we have a win-now roster. The Vikings have $350 million on this roster for 2025. The cap space is about $100 million less than that. They backloaded a lot of these contracts viewing this as a win-now year, and they haven't performed well. I think fans should 100% be upset. Carson Wentz was trash in Philly, and he's trash in Minneapolis, wherever he ended up. Yeah, he hasn't been good. Mendoza is better than Wentz, though. Listen, I disagree with that as well. Right now, if there's a game Sunday, I'm taking Carson Wentz over Mendoza. Pat forgot how bad Darnold was in those last two games. Listen, I remember like the back of my hand. That's why this whole offseason I was saying you got to let him go. You got to see what you have in JJ, but I was wrong. I was 100% wrong. Let's go, SKOL. Shout out to you, Jay. Spectator, NSTA, Pat. Yeah, no, trust me. We all remember. We all remember. No, listen, that Lions game was terrible. Darnold was 18 of 41. Talk about red zone issues. They were terrible that game. Noah Carl, I'm with you. I just don't think there's too good of a chance the Vikings beat the Chargers regardless this Thursday. I hope I'm wrong. I just have a terrible feeling. I think this Chargers game is going to be very similar to the Rams Thursday night game last year, where also the way the schedule makers set up this schedule for the Vikings this year, it was so similar to last year, where you had the first 5 games, obviously 2 international games this year compared to 1 last year. You have that bye, and then remember week 6 we had the Lions in US Bank Stadium. Now you had the Eagles, and then you traveled short week across the country to Los Angeles. So I just I don't have a good feeling. Mr. Schwartz saying we're beating the Chargers. I hope so. Listen, Carson Wentz, you drove me crazy this past week. One time. Just do it one time for me. Go get a win. I hope Wentz throws for 450 yards, 5 touchdowns. You just got to get that win. Move to 4-3, and then we'll see about the Lions. But then you also got the Ravens at home. That Ravens team's going to be probably looking to rip off 10 straight wins end the season. Yeah, we need to get 18 a touchdown. How about you use him in the red zone? JJ's got 1 touchdown since week 1. Pat, would you be fine watching a rookie quarterback struggle than Wentz? Yeah, because Wentz is struggling. You would much rather struggle with the young guy compared to the veteran. Listen, Wentz showed some toughness on Sunday. I'm not saying he was horrible for the entire game. He did find some sort of a rhythm throughout the middle part of that game, but at the end of the day, he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. He showed some toughness. He battled, which I'll respect it, but I would have much rather go in the Brosmer this Thursday night. But let's talk about the latest Vikings trade rumors here. Not a whole lot, but The Lions could also be making some moves, so we'll talk about that here as well. But let's dive into it. What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome to the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we'll be diving into the latest NFL and Vikings trade rumors via Diana Rossini. I know Diana Rossini, but she did have some good nuggets in her latest article, and also Ian Rappaport as well. They're talking about the NFL trade deadline, so we'll talk about how that connects back to the Vikings and also some other teams in the NFC North. But speaking about the deadline, it is November 4th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So this will be a huge moment in the NFL. Teams are still debating, are we going to be buyers? Are we going to be sellers? And honestly, the NFL trade deadline has kind of turned into, like, back in the day, the prime NBA trade deadline, where you're just seeing marquee players getting traded left and right over and over again. Like even last year for the Vikes, trading for Cam Robinson, even though Cam was pretty bad at the tail half of last season, but he kind of saved the Viking season at left tackle for a majority of it. And we'll also be live here on the channel during the NFL trade deadline. So make sure you guys tune in then. And that's also why you guys should hit that subscribe button today, because we are closing in here on 65,000 subs. Just need 360 more of you guys to hit that subscribe button. But if you guys could help me out, make me look good for my bosses, and help us reach 65K subscribers here. So hit that subscribe button today. Once you guys are subscribed, just hit me with a SKOL down below in the comment section. All right, so Diana Rossini, we're actually going to start off with the Detroit Lions here. She is reporting that Detroit is making calls and they are looking for an edge rusher. Now, Detroit's defense, I think, when they are fully healthy, they probably got some of the best personnel in the NFL. They got a great secondary, Branch, Kirby Joseph. They got some dogs over there like DJ Reed, even Rock Ya-Sin, even though DJ Reed's out for the majority of the season. But Rock Ya-Sin had a good game on Monday night, and they could use another edge rusher next to Aiden Hutchinson, because if you were watching that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, they were chipping, double-teaming Aiden at a very high level. And, there are some elite edge rushers out there. Like, you got a guy like Jermaine Johnson. You got a guy like Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Trey Hendrickson, Matthew Judon. Like, these are all potential names for Detroit. And I'll tell you what, if they could somehow land Jermaine Johnson, I mean, that would definitely take that defense to another level. But the Dolphins, they're probably going to be sellers. That's why Chubb, Phillips, and Judon all make the list. Bengals, they're probably not going to trade Trey Hendrickson after they beat the Steelers last Thursday night. But I'll tell you what, if Detroit, they make a move for a big-time edge rusher, I think they're going to, potentially run away with the division. Like, I still like the roster more than Green Bay. And Detroit, they're a well-coached football team. They got blue chippers at every level on offense and defense. So if they could get another guy, I mean, that would be bad news for the Minnesota Vikings. But from the Viking side of things, I do doubt they make any moves. Now, if this was a different situation where the Vikings were, 5-1, 6-0, or even 4-2, I could maybe see them getting a little more aggressive, because the Vikings do have the ammunition to make a big-time trade. Like, if this season was going differently, maybe J.J. McCarthy, he was starting the whole year, he was healthy. Like, they could get aggressive, because you still have 11 draft picks in 2026. You still, for this year, you got $16.63 million for cap space. So you still have some ammunition to make some trades. I just don't think it's going to happen. Like, the Vikings are just really in no position right now to go make a big-time trade, because also, like, with all the free agency spending last year, you're going to have to build through the draft. Like, you're going to eventually have to hit on some of these draft picks. And if you don't, like, Vikings are going to be in purgatory for a while. So I don't think they're going to make a move. But let's talk about three guys, if they do end up making a move, could make some sense. We're going to start off with slot corner Michael Carter II of the New York Jets. So Michael Carter was one of the better slot corners in the NFL before this season. Really sticky in coverage. He battles. He's also pretty damn good against the run as well. But why he's on the trade block and teams are already calling for him, Carter lost his job in New York. They traded for Tennessee Titans slot corner Jarvis Brownlee Jr., which I will say the Vikings probably should have hit that up. I mean, you're struggling stopping the run. He's one of the best corners in the league in terms of stopping the run. And also, Jeff Okudah, he's been bad. Jeff Okudah probably shouldn't play anymore. Even Isaiah Rodgers got torched last week against the Eagles. But I'm banking on Isaiah Rodgers bouncing back. So Michael Carter could make some sense if you just want to get that true slot. But again, with the Flores defense, you don't really go out and get a true slot. Or you don't get a true outside guy either. Like, you got to have some guys that can play multiple positions, which Michael Carter can't play on the outside. So I don't think that makes too much sense for the Vikings. But a guy I would be incredibly interested in, and it could make some sense right now, considering Ivan Pace Jr. got benched this past week, DeMario Davis. Listen, the Vikings are going to make a move, and maybe they do get aggressive if they end up beating the Chargers. He would be my dream trade target. He's a veteran. Obviously a little older. This would just be a 1-year rental, but I mean, the linebacker play outside of Blake Cashman is pretty damn bad for the Vikings. So a guy like Demario Davis would add some more juice to that defense. Pace, I don't really see him getting back out there on the football field too much for the rest of the year. And, Eric Wilson, it's a cool story, him returning to the Vikings, but he's just he's a backup linebacker. So maybe if they beat the Chargers, Demario Davis would make some sense. But also a guy like Budda Baker. Again, this is incredibly unlikely. I can't really see the Vikings, getting too aggressive at the trade deadline. But I'll tell you what, Budda Baker would be one of those guys that Brian Flores would sign up for ASAP, because even though I was a massive fan of Theo Jackson, him getting that 3-year extension, Theo really hasn't been too good this year. Jay Ward's been pretty solid, like Metellus and Harrison Smith. Like even Harrison Smith was making some good plays against the Eagles, but clearly giving up big plays. That falls on the safeties. They haven't been good enough, so maybe they want to get ultra aggressive, trade for a guy like Budda Baker. But again, I think the Vikings are probably going to stand pat at this year's deadline. But you guys let me know. Who do you want? Name a player the Vikings should trade for. Maybe it's a guy I'm not thinking of. Again, it was kind of tough to come up with these names because normally at the deadline, you see edge rushers and wide receivers get traded. Those are two positions that the Vikings just don't need whatsoever. So you guys let me know. Name a player the Vikings should trade for. Drop that name down below. All right. I do want to talk about the Vikings trading away 2 guys. That being Jordan Addison and Jalen Nailor. Don't freak out. I'm vehemently against the Vikings trading Jordan Addison. So talk about that here in a second. But I do want to give a massive shout out to today's sponsor, that being Factor Meals. Now, if you guys want to eat smart, head over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, the fall season always feels like a reset. Between back to school, busy routines, and shorter days, finding time to cook can be tough. That's why I love Factor. The chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter how hectic the season gets. Now on Factor, you guys can choose from more variety and more meals. Choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp, and no extra cost. If you guys also want to support your wellness goals, they have even more GLP-1 friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good for you fats. So head on over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Plug in promo code VikingsChat50 off, and we'll hook you guys up with 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code VikingsChat50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. All right, let's talk about it. Jordan Addison, Jalen Nailor. Doesn't make sense for the Vikings to trade either of these guys. Now, we're going to first start off here with Jalen Nailor. I think a Nailor trade is 100% on the table for the Vikings. Now, we haven't gotten any reports. We haven't gotten any smoke around this. This is just pure speculation on my end. Because Nailor, he's a guy that's entering a contract year right now. I mean, Nailor, he's a great wide receiver 3. But the Vikings probably aren't going to pay him this offseason. And, you could play the comp pick game where it's like, all right, maybe Nailor could go sign a 7-8 million dollar deal. Maybe he could end up getting a 6-round comp pick for him. Or you could just kind of take a 6-round pick you could get for him right now. I think that could be on the table. And you already drafted his replacement. Like, there is no way the Vikings pay Nailor big-time money. Like, you spent a 3rd-round pick on Ty Felton for a reason, which I see that draft pick's not looking too hot right now, but we'll see if he can develop with Keenan Cardell. I'm going to bank on that he will. Vikings develop wide receivers probably better than any team in the NFL. So you already drafted his replacement. You're not going to pay him. And also teams, they're desperate for wide receivers. Like the Giants are going to be calling. The Steelers are going to be calling. Like there will be teams calling about Jalen Nailor because there are some big fish out there like the Chris Olave, Jacoby Myers, Jalen Waddle, but I can't see the Dolphins moving off Waddle. Maybe the Raiders, they're probably going to move Myers, but only one team's going to get him. So teams are going to be desperate for wideouts. And this could also help make the Adam Thielen trade worth it. Like the Thielen trade looks like a joke right now. I don't understand he had a couple of nice catches against the Eagles, but if you want to get him out there on the football field more, that could be a situation where you just pull Nailor out, put Thielen in. Thielen's also still a better run blocker than Nailor. So again, pure speculation on my end, but I do think there's a chance that Nailor gets dealt at the NFL trade deadline. Now, let's talk about Jordan Addison. Why would the Vikings ever consider trading him? I would not. I fully believe this, that Addison is not only like a part of the Vikings, now the current state of the Minnesota Vikings, but he's also part of their future plans. Like I think ideally, if you ask KOC, Quezzy, like who are your guys offensively that you're not moving no matter what? it's Darisaw, it's Jefferson and Addison, probably Jordan Mason, and then it's J.J. McCarthy, ideally, if he ends up working out. So there really is no incentive for me to move Addison. Now, I understand the off-the-field stuff. He's going to have to get a big contract. They'll probably sign the T. Higgins deal, but, I mean, Addison is worth that because this guy's been – I mean, he's been absolutely awesome this year. Jordan Addison, he's a hell of a receiver. Like, even against the week 4 against the Steelers, going for 4 receptions, 114 yards. Week 5 against the Browns, 5 receptions, 41 yards and a tud. Against the Eagles, 9 receptions, 128 yards. Like, Addison was fantastic in those games. So, I wouldn't move him whatsoever. Now, I don't know if a team, like, maybe you could get a first-round pick for Addison, or I doubt that, but I would keep Addison. I think they view him as, truly a long-term piece for this Vikings team. But, we'll see. We'll wait and see what happens. I still, at the end of the day, I probably put my money on the Vikings making 0 trades before the NFL trade deadline. If anything, it's probably trading away a guy, especially if they lose against the Chargers. Like, maybe more guys could be on the table. Maybe even a guy like Javon Hargrave could be on the table, and you could potentially trade him. But I know a lot of people would be open to trading Jordan Addison. At least that's what I see in the comment section and on social media. So you guys let me know. Would you trade Jordan Addison? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. We'll get on out of here. As always, SKOL Vikes. Frank saying the season is done. No need to trade for anyone at this point. Entertaining offers for Addison, not be a bad idea, though. There's no way they can afford him and Jefferson. Well, you can. I mean, the Eagles won a Super Bowl last year with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith locked up. So I disagree with that. I mean, even the Lions are playing J-Mo and Amon-Ra. You can pay 2 wide receivers, so I disagree with that. Lynette saying she would trade him, though. Corey saying P. Roger saying P. Normalize saying, do you think that when JJ comes back, we see the connection with Addison that we had heard so much about during the offseason? Yeah, I mean, Addison loves JJ McCarthy. Like, anytime he talks about this guy, like, he's given a lot of love. So, yeah, definitely, 100%. But we are going to be diving into a mailbag here. So if you guys got a question for me, hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to get up on today's show. If you guys could get a question down there, that would be fantastic. What do you think of Max Brosmer? I mean, I got some intrigue in Brosmer. That's what I was saying. The Vikings should have started him this week against the Chargers, but they're going in a different direction, and they're going to ride out with Carson Wentz until JJ gets back. P, I would pay Addison and then cycle wide receiver 3 on rookie deals, which, yeah, Bobby Bucks, that's a good point. That's what the Vikings will do. What do you think to do with Adams' contract? Thielen's contract, I mean, you just let him ride this out. He's just on he's just got one more year, so 1 year, $8.5 million. They're just going to have him ride it out there. Captain saying, my question is, I've been told Minnesota is the closest depiction of hell on earth that has ever seen. Is this true? Minnesota sports are up there. I mean, the Vikings have to be, I don't want to say like cursed because, listen, like I heard this since KOC took over as the Vikings head coach. They have the 5th best winning percentage during the regular season since KOC's became the head coach. They have the 5th best winning percentage of all time, but they have 3 playoff wins over the last 19 years. 3 playoff wins in 19 seasons. It's bad. Like it's bad right now. It's tough not to get a little depressed. And I will say, somebody commented this on a show the other day. They're like, Patrick, you're finally realizing what it's like to be like a lifelong Vikings fan. Like they're saying, like my optimism as being a younger Vikings fan is slowly fading, and I kind of agree with that. But we'll see what happens. But mailbag coming up. Hashtag Vikings or Super Chat to get up on today's show. If you guys could, that would be absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. But if you guys are ready to go, let's dive on into it. What's going on, everybody? You are watching Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman. I want to get you guys a mailbag, which is me and you chopping it up about the Minnesota Vikings heading into this Week 8 matchup as we are traveling across the country to take on the Los Angeles Chargers on Thursday night. But Vaporous coming in saying, do you think JJ going to make us go to the playoffs? I mean, it's not looking like it right now, if I'm being honest. Clearly injuries are the biggest reason why J.J. McCarthy, I don't even want to say he hasn't worked out just yet, but we really don't know, who J.J. is. Like, I would like to tell you, yeah, absolutely, J.J. is going to be the guy that brings us to the playoffs. Like, I still believe in JJ as a prospect. He just needs to get back out there. He needs to get healthy. And clearly, KOC, they don't trust that ankle yet. They don't trust his lower body mechanics, which maybe I think the Vikings are overblowing this a little bit. Because, like, even if JJ, like, even if he is 85% healthy right now, I would still start him. Like, he's going to have to play eventually. Like, I understand you don't want to, like, play him maybe when he's not 100% and then he re-injures it. And then it's like, okay, then maybe the season is lost. So, like, truly they want him to be 110% healthy. They want him to be fully confident, which I will say, short week against the Chargers, gives you that mini bye week against the Lions. So I'm praying Friday morning, no matter what happens in Los Angeles, KOC tells the team, JJ's a starter. We're rolling out there. Hopefully, though. Hopefully. We would have major concerns if JJ's not playing week 9 against the Lions. Then, like, that whole soft benching narrative, like, then it becomes real, which would be incredibly, incredibly concerning. But, Vaporous, I appreciate you. Steven saying, do you think the defense will play better Thursday against the pass? I think they will, just because, you're not going against A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Like, Lad McConkey's good. Quentin Johnson's had a bounce-back year this season, but you're not going against A.J. and Devontae here. So I'm sure they're going to look at the film, see how they can limit the big plays, which it's kind of crazy. Like, under Flores, even back in 2023 when the defense wasn't, like, lights out like it was in 2024, they didn't really give up too many big plays in the pass game, but they gave up a whole lot against the Eagles. Now, I also do think one concern I have against the Chargers, we saw Jalen Hurts reset in the pocket over and over again. You weren't able to bring him down. Well, Herbert's just as hard to tackle as Jalen Hurts. Like, that's what I'm concerned about. Those off-script plays. I feel like the Vikings defense, where it's kind of like that scramble backyard football drill this year, they've been pretty poor. So do I think they'll play better? I'm guessing, but I don't really have anything to really go off of where I'm like definite. Like, yeah, no doubt the Vikings will be better against the pass. Georgie coming in saying, so far, do you think Donovan Jackson was a good pick? If not, who would you rather they picked? Kind of too early to tell for Donovan Jackson, but right now I do think it was a good pick. He's looked pretty good. Now maybe they could have used maybe another safety. Maybe they could have drafted like a Malachi Starks or Nick Eamon-Warrior looks fantastic for Seattle. Now obviously Mike McDonald, a great defensive mind, just like Flores. So like those types of guys know how to use those very versatile athletic safeties. So maybe I would have liked Nick Eamon-Warrior, but I'm gonna ride out with Donovan Jackson. Like, you need to go get another interior offensive lineman. So you burn a first-round pick on him. And he's got a good mindset. I think he's going to keep on getting better year in, year out. But I think with offensive linemen, it's really after year 3 we'll have a good evaluation, especially for interior guys. Like, we've seen tackles come in right away, be dominant, but it's very, very rare. Like, it has to take an all-time great for an interior offensive lineman. It's like, hey, right away, they're one of the best in the league. So right now, I do like the pick of Donovan Jackson. Reed Southern saying, did you see the TJ Hawkinson press conference about his touchdown that got overturned? That was not a touchdown. What do you have to say about that, if it was a touchdown or not? I did see the press conference. Clearly, TJ wasn't happy. But what I have to say about it is it didn't matter. The Vikings still let the Eagles run the clock out. Like, even if the final score would have been 28-25 or 28-26, if they would have counted that touchdown, the Eagles were still able to run it out. Like, now, listen, if the Vikings, like, let's just say they got the stop and they moved the ball down the field and they still fizzled out in the red zone again, and if you would have had that touchdown count, then, yeah, I would have been a little more upset about it. But in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really make too much of an impact on the outcome of the game. Listen, I also think it's bullshit that they didn't count it a touchdown. Like, I think that was the wrong call. The main call that I had a problem with was at the end of the first half, Blake Brandel, he swipes down the hands of Jalen Carter. They call a hold. One of the worst calls I've ever seen. It was not a hold whatsoever, and it resulted in a touchdown getting called back. So it was bad. It was bad. Officials were not good, but that was also such a small piece of the pie on why the Vikings ended up losing to the Eagles. Astro, will J.J. McCarthy be 100% versus the Detroit Lions? And would you do a more run-heavy offense on Thursday if it's successful? Yeah, I sure as hell hope JJ's 100% versus the Lions. If he's not, we got problems. That means a high ankle sprain is keeping JJ out for almost 2 months. That's not good. And also, if he doesn't play and KOC says he's not 100%, I'm gonna start thinking KOC, like, this whole soft benching narrative was, like, actually true, and he is soft benching JJ. Like, I still think he's true to his word right now that he doesn't think JJ is 100% healthy. And I will say, even though I would have some interest in playing JJ at 90, 95% healthy, it is incredibly risky on a short week where, injuries happen a lot on Thursday Night Football. Like, what if they forced JJ back out there and then he got rehurt and it was like the same ankle? Like, then we would be all calling for KOC's head. But in terms of them being a more run heavy offense on Thursday, it should have been a more run heavy offense for the last 4 weeks with Wentz. You have a quarterback in Wentz where he's a volatile player, where he'll have some great plays, he'll have some really bad plays. And if you just keep on giving him dropbacks, like, he is going to fuck up many, many times, like he did against the Eagles. He was missing wide open targets. And clearly KOC, like you saw it early in that game against the Eagles, he wasn't settled in. He wasn't locked. I don't know why he didn't stay with the run. It's not like you were down 3 possessions. Like, yeah, you were down 2 possessions for majority of that game, but that doesn't mean you can completely abandon the run. So this Thursday, you have to. Running backs have been killing the Chargers over the last 3 weeks. So hopefully the Vikings, get Jordan Mason the ball a whole lot. You guys let me know. Predict the score for me in this Thursday Night Football matchup. Minnesota Vikings versus Los Angeles Chargers. I'm actually predicting the Chargers win. I don't have a good feeling about this game. I'm going to go 24-20 in favor of the Chargers. I think it's going to be very similar to the Rams game last year where you just kind of couldn't get anything going offensively. The defense kind of kept you in that game. But I just don't have any faith in this team right now. But you guys let me know. Predict the score, Chargers, Vikings, down below. Now we'll get to more of you guys' questions here in a second. But before we do so, got to tell you guys about today's presenting sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Now, if you guys want to download the Prize Picks app and plug in promo code CLNS, we'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, Prize Picks, you and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. So don't miss any excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks has a new feature called Stacks, meaning you can pick up to the same player 3 times in the same lineup. If you want to pick more on Josh Allen's pass yards, rush yards, and touchdowns, now you can't pick all of them in the same lineup, only on Prize Picks. You guys can also follow other Prize Picks players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one click. Whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or just someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Now, if you guys want, download Prize Picks app today. Use promo code CLNS. We'll hook you guys up with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. It's promo code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Massive shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring today's show. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Big old beast. Would you trade for a backup quarterback? No, I would not. One, there's not too many good options out there right now. And plus the Vikings, like, you can't give up draft capital for a backup quarterback for one game. Like, if you are going to take KOC or KOC's word that JJ will be back week 9, like, you just kind of ride out with what you have. So trading for a backup, like, maybe if they knew this JJ McCarthy injury at first was going to keep him out 2 months, yeah, I would have had some interest in trading for a backup, but it's almost too late in that process right now. So, Big O Beast, I appreciate you, but I'm going to say no to that question. The Colin guy saying, would you rather have Josh Dobbs or Carson Wentz as the starter? That's a good question. Man, probably Wentz still. I mean, Dobbs can't throw the football, especially with KOC's offense. I still think I would go Wentz. But pretty much point being here, not a lot of good backup options, man. Not a lot of good backup options out there. And, Josh Dobbs, he was great for that, 2.5 game stretch for the Vikings, but then we saw him really come back to reality. Especially that Raiders game. I mean, you guys remember that back in 2023, 3-0. It was a hideous game. Dobbs was absolutely terrible. Ended up getting benched for Jaron Hall and Nick Mullins for the rest of the year. So between those two, not good. I would probably go Wentz. Vapor is saying, what are your thoughts on them benching Ivan? Did not expect it. I talked about it in a video where I was talking about some bye week changes the Vikings can make, and benching Ivan Pace was one of them. I said they should. I'm just shocked they actually did. Now, Ivan Pace has been really bad this season. He's terrible in coverage. He hasn't been as dominant as he's been in the run game and as a blitzing linebacker. So, again, we knew he was a one-trick pony, but it's almost like his negatives of him being in coverage has made him unplayable. So I'm not really too shocked by it, but I guess that whole UDFA storyline around Kwesi, like if Ivan Pace is like an unplayable player, it's like, yeah, no, the drafts even look worse than we originally thought, because we always said like, oh, at least you got Ivan Pace, he's got a guy like Gabe Murphy, but now it's like these UDFAs are like, I mean, none of these guys are playing real football, but plenty. Shout out to you, Spaceman 900 saying, did Will Fries play good against the Eagles? Not really. Especially going back and watching it. I mean, he got handled a couple of times. He's just not dominant. Like he won't get beat as bad as like a guy like Ed Ingram, or if you guys remember Dakota Dozier, but he's just not dominant. Like he's not living up to that 5-year, $88 million contract. Which hopefully he'll turn it around. Maybe with like all the moving parts at center and right tackle has limited his play. So like once they get that continuity and chemistry going, maybe the Vikes can turn around the offensive line. But all those free agency pickups, just as it stands right now, just haven't been looking good. Bobby Blogs, when does Aaron Jones come back? I think there's a chance Thursday against the Chargers. Like I think that's fully on the table. KOC kind of hinted at it. If not, Aaron Jones will be back Week 9 against the Lions. Which, get Aaron Jones back. Hopefully you have Van Ginkel back against the Lions. The only injury you really have is Ryan Kelly. So there really should be no more excuses. But Bobby, appreciate you. Noah Carl saying, don't see why the Vikings should make a trade at the deadline. I think it would just be a 7-10 to 9-8 season. Just regroup and go into the next season with a healthy JJ and try to make the playoffs. Those are kind of my thoughts. Like, I don't think there's any move you can make, though, that could even increase your win total by 2 wins. Like, unless you're going out there and you're like saying like, hey, screw it. Like, hey, the Browns, we'll give you 2 first-round picks for Denzel Ward, or like, hey, the Saints, we'll give you a 3rd for Demario Davis. Like, there's really not a move out there that they can make. But yeah, I mean, if the Vikings were 5-1, 4-2, 6-0, like we're having a different conversation about the trade deadline. But they're just in that purgatory zone where it's like you're not going to be sellers, you're not going to be buyers. It's probably going to be a boring trade deadline for us Vikings fan. Which I will say, free agency was a lot of fun. The draft was a snooze. This trade deadline is going to be a snooze. This offseason, the free agency period, is going to be a snooze. It might be pretty boring being a Vikings fan in terms of like them making big time moves over the next couple of years, because they spent all their big money this past free agency, and really none of these guys are living up to those contracts. But Noah, shout out to you, man. And if you guys made it to the end, you guys are the best fans in the world. We appreciate you guys. Just hit me with a SKOL down below in the comments section. And appreciate all of you guys for watching. Make sure you guys do hit that subscribe button on your way out. We'll be live for the game on Thursday, about an hour before kickoff. So tune in then. We'll see you guys next time. As always, SKOL Vikes. Lego fell. What's going on? Except for Mason. Cody in the building. Tommy Wood. Do you believe in Max Brosmer to work well with the Vikings offense? I know, Curtis. I think I'm trying to do a little reverse jinx here. Predicting another team to win. First time this season. Predict another team to win. I think I said it, playoff game, I predicted the Rams to win. I felt terrible going to that playoff game. We'll see. But, hey, we're going to get on out of here. I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in for today's live show. Shout out to all the real ones. And, we'll be live Thursday. Great audience today. You guys showing out. So, shout out to all of y'all. And we'll get out of here. See you guys next time. SKOL Vikes.